Good morning. Happy Monday. Hey friends, how are you? Okay, this is Monday Morning Mindset, and we have been talking about goals and how do we accomplish something that we really want by the end of this year, and that we want to go into 2019 with momentum. And one of the best ways to do that is to end the year strong. And so a few weeks ago, we were talking about setting a goal. Setting a goal so that you could accomplish something that you've never accomplished before, or something that's important to you. I'm just looking at people getting on. Good morning, guys. And then a few weeks later, last week, we got to when you've set a big goal, when you've set something that you really, really want and you've never had it before, inevitably, you are going to hit an obstacle. You're going to hit a bump in the road, something that prevents you from moving forward. Now, a lot of times your obstacle is just something that you go around, you go over, you go under, you figure it out. That's how we get by in life. We start figuring out the answers, the solutions to those road bumps. But sometimes you get stuck because you can't figure out the obstacle. You don't know how to go around it, over it, because you've never been through it. Or, as we identified last week, it's really about fear. And that fear paralyzes us. It stops us from getting what we want. And so we talked last week about, identifying that fear, that it comes from a story you're telling yourself. It comes from some experience that has happened in your life that you tell a story to protect yourself. So today I want to talk about how to move past that. I want to give you a few tangible steps so that you can connect with your goal, face that fear, and move forward and bust through that fear. Wouldn't that feel great? Okay, so what I did was, this topic must have really resonated with you guys because we had really good viewership. And so I went back and reviewed, everything that people commented on. And basically, some of the brave souls shared out what their fear was. And I can tell you that all of these fears are common and normal, and they're very real. And so we've got to figure out, how do we move past that fear if we're going to get our goal? And I will tell you that, I've been doing this for years and years and years, and it gets easier. You get better at it. The fears never go away, because every time you set a new goal so that you can grow, so that you can have something in your life, you're going to face a new fear. And what I've learned now is I don't like the fear part, but I understand the process. And so I'm going to give you a personal example in just a minute. But first, what I want to do is I want to make sure that you guys, that we're not trying to do two different subjects at one time, that we kind of got off on fear last week. And I want to make sure that fear is not your life fear, but it's connected to your goal, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help you accomplish this year's goal. And through the process, you're going to grow. And all of us, myself included, is going to hit an obstacle where fear takes control. And it's like the devil, right? And we got to move past it. And so that's what I want to share with you as I reviewed back on all the fears of letting ourselves down, the fear of what other people think, the fear of judgment, the fear of success, the fear of failure. I can go on. The fear of what will people think, the fear of you'll look stupid, the fear of you're so responsible. I can tell you that 90% of the fears you wrote, I've experienced, and I am working through, or I have already worked through it. So here's what I can tell you. Let's get to the good news, okay? So the good news is, if you've set a goal, probably somebody has accomplished it. If you've thought of something you want, probably somebody has already accomplished that goal. And so you can have the belief that it can be done. And then secondly, that real people have done it. That really has been what's inspired me over the years to be able to break through my own barriers, to get out of the way of myself, is the confidence of knowing that these fears are the same fears everybody else has. And I don't want to be stuck. I don't want to end my story and disappoint myself. And I think that was the biggest takeaway of, as I read, your comments, I've written them all down here. As I've read your comments, the one that I most want to make sure is that you don't let yourself down. Now, how do we do that? Okay, so I'm thinking of a recent fear that I had to go through, because that'll help me help you think about your fear. Okay, so make sure you've got your goals. They have to be written down. You have to break it down, do the whole SMART thing that we did a few weeks ago. You can go back and review if you need to. If you don't have that goal in writing, I have my goal in writing. It's right here. You don't need to see my goal, but that's my goal in writing. So that's step one. And then I can look at that goal and I can see that I've accomplished, or I've gotten to an obstacle, and the fear is real. So I've got that in my mind as I'm trying to walk you through this exercise. So my own personal situation is, I know it's been done before, and I know real people have done it. It's not like Kardashian, right? It's not like those other people, the famous people, everybody else. This is for real. And I guess all of your feedback gave me an indication that this is a subject that we all are dealing with, and so we can help each other. That's what I want to do. I want to help you break through that fear. So I remember the conversation I was having with my mentor when she told me what I needed to do in order to get what I wanted, which is what she has. And the fear just stopped me in my tracks. And I mean, fear when you feel it. You start sweating, your voice might lock up, your heart's beating fast. And when you can feel that fear, then we've got to address, where's that coming from? And so I was having this conversation in my head about, on the one side, part of my brain was talking one side of the subject, and then the other side of my brain was talking another way. So one was saying, there's no way I'm going to do what you're telling me to do. And then the other side of my brain was saying, if I don't do what you're telling me to do, I'm not going to get what I want. And there was this battle going on just for a couple of minutes. And in that moment, when I decided that I wanted the goal more than the fear, and that's the bottom line. If you have something that you really want, if the desire is there, then you'll bust through that fear. And I can give you dozens and dozens, probably 100 examples personally of where I've broken through that fear. And that's what I want you to be able to do. So the fear is right here. I'm going to put it in front of my eyes. The fear is right here. This is what you're seeing. This is what's stopping you. The goal is out here. The fear is here. And you can't get here because this is all you see. So if you have the belief that somebody else has accomplished what you want, whether it's a professional goal, a personal goal, if it has been done before and you have the belief, why not you? Why would you disappoint yourself to not get what you know you want and deserve? So the next step is, in my mind, when I was having this conversation and I'm like, oh crap, like this is what I have to do. I have to break through that fear. So I knew exactly what the activity was, and that's what you have to identify. We're not going to be able to take all the time to figure out all your fears and the experience and the story it comes from. We'll have to do that another time and another platform, because that's like psychology, right? Like that's your whole life, figuring it out. But we don't have time to just stop our life if we want to get what we want to get. So there's little tricks that we use. And the step is to make a decision that you are not going to get in the way of what you want. You're not going to be the reason that you don't get what you want. And if you can tie that goal into something that really matters to you, and it's so easy for me to get past myself when I realize like my why has good intentions. It's not a selfish motive. It's okay if it is, but if you can really tap into what you want and then you know what you need to do but you're afraid, write down that activity. Write down that one thing, not everything. What I noticed with y'all's feedback is that the fears were so big, there's no way you would take a step forward if you focused on that fear. So you can't look here, you've got to look where you're going. So what is the activity that you need to do? I want you to write it down. And then you're going to look at that and you're going to ask yourself questions, open-ended questions. How do I accomplish this? And then you're going to noodle on it. And it's going to come to you. Instead of, you're not going to one time think that you're scared. That's not what we're focused on. Now we're focused on the activity that you know you need to do. Just one thing, one step. I'm teaching you how to break through the fear. Okay, so you've got it written down. You start asking yourself open-ended questions. How would I do X? What's the best way to try this? What is a way I'm comfortable with it? And if you can ask yourself the questions, then the answers start coming. And then the second thing I want you to do is set a deadline. You have to give yourself a time frame that you're going to take that next step. That you're going to do the thing that you know you need to do to get past that obstacle. Because the only way you break through barriers is with the next step. To do the next thing that moves you forward. I hope some of this is resonating with you guys. I hope some of this helps. You know, and if you find yourself going back to the fear, feeling the fear, then I want you to focus on looking down at your paper and writing down what is the next activity you're going to do. What is your deadline? Fear is a good thing. Fear is the thing that will actually motivate you to grow. And that's what we're all about. That's what goals are all about. Goals help you grow in your life. So just as I finish up here, I'm watching my time because I can get really wordy and I want to just tell y'all so much more, but I know y'all are busy today. So focus on what you want. Don't focus on the fear right now. Focus on the one activity that you need to do. If you're feeling butterflies, if your heart's beating fast, that's a good sign. That means that you're in touch with your feelings, but your feelings are not going to help you reach your goal. Write down a plan on what you're going to do, the next step to reach your goal. Just one thing that you're going to do. Write it down. Set your goal. Don't let the goal be too far from now. It should be something you could do pretty quickly, today, tomorrow, right away. And then share with me in the messages if this has helped you this week. Let me know if making the decision to take the next step is going to help you reach your goals. Because you know what, guys? We're going to go into 2019 with momentum. We're going to feel strong with our business, with our personal life, because we're going to start mastering this life skill of goal setting. So I hope this gives you something great to think about this week. You're worth it. This is so important to your success and ultimately your happiness in life. So I hope this helps. I hope you enjoy watching. You guys have a great week.